Hello, and welcome to the original Remake podcast, a show where we take the role of Hollywood executives, shamelessly exploiting your nostalgia for money. My name is Pat, and I'm joined by Amy.
Hello.
Andrea.
Hello.
And Nick.
Oh, hi.
And today we will be discussing The Happening. God help us all.
The classic The Happening, 2008. It was directed and produced, right? By
Written, directed, and produced.
So he has no one to blame but himself.
Well,
literally.
This is true. M. Night Shyamalan. So I'm so mixed with this actual director, like I am mixed with this movie, because there's so many good movies with so many bad, and there's so many good qualities to this movie that I find personally appealing.
Oh God!
But it's horrible at the same time.
Okay. So I'm gonna start off this podcast before we let you have a synopsis. From
I'll let
Andrea,
you finish.
Yeah, from Andrea, Nick, and myself.
You're welcome.
This is one of the worst movies we've ever seen. I had never seen this before, and I'm sad that you made me watch it.
There is one movie that I can think of that is actually worse.
I don't think this is the worst movie we've ever seen. It's a truly horrible movie, but it's not the worst we've ever seen.
It is a very close second.
Yeah.
To Moonfall.
Well, no.
Like, I take back everything I've ever said about Big Trouble in Little China. I take back everything that I said about Enemy Mine, even though that movie does suck.
5 stars.
This is so boring. It just
that's why it's so offensively bad, and it doesn't make up for it by being super corny, or they don't even have like a comic relief character. Everyone in the movie is their own comic relief, but not on purpose.
If the movie didn't take itself seriously so much, it might be good. But because it does, it's like, okay, snooze fest.
All right, Amy, before we go any further, before we continue the mocking, can you give us a synopsis of the film? Tell us what happened.
I don't think we know what happened. Do we know what happened? Okay, for people that haven't seen this movie, because apparently a lot of people haven't, I can understand why. But it's basically about a mysterious airborne neurotoxin, which at the beginning of the movie, everyone thought they were being attacked by terrorists. But this neurotoxin ends up causing an outbreak of bizarre suicidal tendencies with everybody. And it's it's following a couple, basically, from the beginning of it to the end. Couple other notes. It's almost like an end of the world eco thriller movie.
Yeah.
I personally like movies like that, on top of being B quality. I understand it's bad. I understand. I know I cannot defend myself, but there's people out there that agree with me, and they have better words than I do.
Halfway through that synopsis, you suddenly realized you were being put on trial, and you started defending yourself.
I feel like I'm gonna be put into jail right now.
You're not gonna pass. You're not gonna go to jail, but you are not passing go, and you are not collecting $200. I will be the winner of the second place in the beauty contest. Thank you very much.
Will the youngins get that joke? Get that reference?
Ooh, I don't know.
This is trying to be one of those early green films, the environments.
Yeah.
We're ruining the environment, and now it's striking back.
It's pissed at us.
I mean,
The Day After Tomorrow did the same thing in a much better way.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Nick to give me the actual science and that it cannot actually happen this way. Because I know you rebuffed from another movie we just watched recently called Moonfall. That there's no way that any of this is possible.
I'll even point one out right now. How do the plants make the wind blow them? Because that's what it seemed like to me.
No. And this is one of those podcasts, not any sort of video. But clearly, they're waving their tree arms around.
Yeah. Can't you see the ripples in the grass? That's what makes them angry.
Yeah, the grass are doing the wave.
Can I do a quick real life tangent?
Sure.
Do it.
Thank you. If you said no, I would have done it anyway, so I appreciate your
Obviously.
confirmation. Today I went to my parents' house because they're out of town and I needed to be there for the AC guy to fix the AC. On my way I picked up Wendy's, and as I was in the drive-through, there's like some bushes next to the drive-through, and all of a sudden this gust of wind came out of nowhere and they blew, and I was like it scared the shit out of me, like, because it was so sudden. There was no wind, and all of a sudden these bushes moved, and I was like, oh my god, it's happening.
What's happening?
I don't know. Something's
happening.
I don't know what it is, but it happened.
It is happening.
Just close your eyes. Imagine having this thing follow you and you can't see it. You don't know what it is. It's a little scary. It's a little unnerving.
No? It was so great up until the crazy guy with the greenhouse was like, it's the plants, dude. And they gave him credibility.
No, it wasn't good up until that point.
No.
Yeah, it was not good.
Listen, it was building suspense, and you're waiting for a real payoff, and then crazy guy comes out of the woodwork, and they're like, "Wait, really? We're gonna go with
no.
We're gonna go pissed off plants. That's what we're going with here." Okay.
The movie
was so checked out.
The movie lost all credibility when it asked me to believe that Mark Wahlberg was a teacher of children.
Yeah. Yeah. Or even better, the movie asked me to suspend all credibility when Mark Wahlberg opened his damn mouth.
Yes.
Like,
every facial expression he makes in this film is hilarious.
It's like someone had to teach him how to move his face.
Yeah.
Like, okay, Mark, you're supposed to make this sad face when you're sad. What does that mean? Well, it means you're not happy. Make the sad face. Good Lord.
Now, do we actually know it's the actors? Yes, they're not the best actors in the world that were in it. They've been on blockbuster movies, some of these, but it's the writing. It was the direction. I really only like the actual concept.
It's both, right? Like, let's be honest. Marky Mark isn't like our greatest talent by a long shot. Zoe Deschanel is funny and cute in roles that are designed for her to be funny and cute in.
Right.
Her character in this
New Girl
is so boring.
She's New Girl. I don't understand what her character is, though. She's literally refusing to interact with the other main characters, and for almost no reason. Like, I understand that maybe she kind of like was unfaithful, but not really. Like,
oh my god, even that
was annoying.
Dessert with a guy from work.
Like,
yeah. What?
Your only problem is that you
was the dessert his cock? Reason? Because that's the only reason that would be bad.
Right. It's just.
All right. So basically, I picked this movie because I wanted you guys to see something that was bad.
Didn't you do that for all of your picks?
No. I wanted to see how you guys would remake this.
Oh.
To make it better, if it's possible.
That's actually one of my problems with this film is my changes section is like 2 lines long, because I'm like, how do I tear this movie apart and keep some semblance of it?
I feel like
I have some ideas. But I think a lot of this episode is going to be us complaining about this film. I got to be honest. Like, I have like 2 paragraphs of like, here's a list of things I hate.
Yeah. Like, I mean, God, this is one of those movies where it's so bad, it's unintentionally funny. Like, oh God, like, I wrote down a couple of lines like, chilly, isn't it today, Sale? And then, I'm not that type of girl. Like, those 2 lines, I wrote them down because they were just delivered so badly. Like,
yeah. At one point, John Leguizamo says the town of Princeton, like as though the scriptwriters wanted to make sure that we knew Princeton was a town. Like, give your audience some credit, please, Jesus.
Right. And it's like, to your point of, I see in one of your notes here, you said, did anyone even read it before they started filming? Like, did you happen to look up where these places actually were? There is a town of Filbert. I looked it up. It's about an hour south of Pittsburgh. it's supposed to be like, I also looked up the zip code where they actually were, because they had this map, and I was like, okay, there's a zip code. So I looked one up, and they're actually like 45 minutes outside of Philadelphia. These are real fucking places. M. Night Shyamalan, Mr. I set everything in Pennsylvania because I grew up there. You should fucking know where these places are.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
And how they go from we're on the East Coast trying to avoid this swarm that's coming of unknown death and destruction coming down the East Coast, and then suddenly going west. Our only saving grace is to get west as fast as possible.
But like,
and
why?
These places that are like 6 hours apart are apparently only 5 minutes worth of driving.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we're at the border. What border? Pennsylvania has a few of those.
Yes.
Which direction did you go?
Like, also, you definitely walked there in an afternoon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So before we kind of move on, we've talked a little bit about the actors. I feel like I just want to throw all of the bad acting in one section. So we've talked about
There is one more thing I wanted to mention, because I remember I mentioned that like it's so bad it's funny. You remember the scene in the zoo where the guy just like instigated the lion to like rip his arms off? I was like, this is very Monty Python and the Holy Grail Black Knight shit. Like, it's just a flesh wound. Your arm's off. No, it isn't. Like, that's literally what I thought.
It literally just falls off. Like, it looks like it falls right off. There's no good actors. There's no good acting in this film. Everyone's terrible. Yeah. Even Jeremy Strong, who, for those of you who watch Succession, he's terrific in that. Oh my God! He runs up. He's like, "Oh, jeepers, Mister! The plants are coming for us over here. You know, maybe we should go the other way. Oh no, we can't go that way either. Jeez, Mister."
He's
awful. He's the army guy.
Oh, the army guy,
lieutenant, or
yeah. And I cannot believe that a mere decade later he was in like one of the prestigious shows ever made, Succession, from there. You know what I mean? Like, if anything, that's a reason to just really let Marky Mark off the hook and lay it at the feet of M. Night Shyamalan.
No,
because oh God, so Mark Wahlberg can't even act like he has a friend.
He can't.
I don't believe that he's ever had a friend in his life, because they're trying to have connections with John Leguizamo. He can't believe a terrorist would attack Central Park for some reason. Like, these are not real people. I don't know what the scriptwriter was thinking. These are not real people.
Well, I mean, it's like, when was this movie made?
2008.
Okay, so to think that people wouldn't attack Central Park is the dumbest thought.
Yeah.
Because did you see what happened on 9/11? Like, was that not a thing that crossed your brain?
Well, I think they were trying to feed off of that a little bit with this whole Central Park thing. They started the movie by saying it was a terrorist plot. And honestly, if they kept going in that direction,
it would have been marginally good.
There might have been a chance.
Right.
But we went the plants direction. And
like, you could make that work almost. Like, you could say, okay, the terrorists released some kind of neurotoxin that meant that anytime you touched the plant, it was poisonous, it killed you.
Yeah.
You could do something like that.
But there needs to be a big bad.
Yeah.
And you can't just say this event that lasted 37 seconds was your big bad.
It doesn't even need to be like a big bad. It needs to be an antagonist of some kind. There has to be a climax to the goddamn movie. I was sitting there watching, and I was like, when does all the action come to a head? You know what I thought it did? I swear to God, I thought something interesting was going to happen when the old lady was like bashing her head into her house. And I was like, is this the climax? Is this the highest point of intensity in this film right now? You're kidding me.
I think she's supposed to be like the final boss, right? The lady that kind of goes crazy. But that doesn't even make sense based on I guess, again, Marky Mark doesn't qualify for me as a teacher, so maybe he's just wrong. But the entire experiment he's doing is like, when people get in big groups, the plants suddenly know, and therefore they blow the wind in their direction and release the chemicals or whatever. that doesn't work because the old lady was like alone the whole time. How did she go crazy?
Right. It's like
Right.
at that point, we're meant to assume that the plants understand the people that are assholes in the world and like go to take retaliation on those people.
So,
but like you've just killed what the rest of the film was supposed to be about.
I want to be on the hate train just as much as the rest, but they do say, and where this exposition comes from, other than just I am omnipotent to the plot line, so I know it as a character.
Oh, you mean because?
Yeah, just because. But they say towards the end that the plants are targeting smaller and smaller and smaller groups as this thing progresses. And we're led to believe that the old lady is targeted because she exists as a human, and we've made it all the way to the smallest group, triggering this happening to happen. And
a smaller happening.
If
a sub happening.
If the movie had gone to say that everybody who comes in contact with our two main characters and that little girl dies just because, that would have been a more believable plot line than what we actually got.
Yo, that's an interesting idea. What if that's the big reveal? What if that's our remake? It's not the plants.
It's the three people.
It's
not
Marky
Mark.
It's just Marky Mark.
Marky Mark.
It's the Moors. It's this family
aura around him that just drives people so effing nuts that they throw themselves off of buildings.
Marky Mark has actually killed someone, so this could be your true life story, right?
What?
Hasn't Marky Mark killed someone?
In real life?
What, like a car accident?
I don't know.
Oh, never mind. He got
He's accused of murder.
Well, no, he served 2 years. He served 45 days of a 2-year sentence for attempted murder when he was young.
Oh,
wow. That's how we got gangster.
Yeah.
Marky Mark.
Yeah. All right. Anyways,
it's all right. It saved us for any more Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch music.
Good Lord.
I think I maybe have said this before. Has anyone ever seen the film The Big Hit?
No.
It's an awful Marky Mark film, but it's worth seeing because it's bad on purpose. It's about a group of assassins trying to one up each other.
Oh, okay.
I actually recommend it. It's terrible. I want to be clear. It's terrible.
It looks terrible.
But in a great way. Like one of the characters is trying to win like video rental of the month from like a pornography DVD store.
Right now.
If you want a Marky Mark movie that is terrible in a great way, that's not actually awful, check out The Other Guys.
Oh yeah, agreed.
I don't think that's bad.
No, it's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
I'm a peacock. Let me fly, coach.
That's like the only Marky Mark movie that's not shitty.
Really? You don't like Ted?
I like Ted.
He's talking to a stuffed animal.
Yeah, nah.
I mean, he's basically playing himself.
Actually, you know what I do like
show.
is I liked the movie Pain and Gain. I thought it was quite funny.
Didn't see it.
Pain and Gain. Oh,
it's actually a Michael Bay film too.
Oh, good Lord!
Is it really? I didn't know that.
It's like the worst combination possible, but somehow it worked.
Because the big explosions and world-ending themes just trump the fact that Marky Mark is so bad.
You know what? He was in Four Brothers too. I like. You know what? Marky Mark has got some good movies.
Don't do it. Don't say it.
Don't say it.
But
don't
most of his movies that we like him in, it seems like he's just playing himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I agree.
So that probably we could say that he doesn't have that much range as an actor.
No,
there's nothing wrong with that. Like
it's a nail. It's a hit hammer on. I can't tell.
And I think
he's a hammer to hit a nail.
You could say the exact same thing about Zooey Deschanel. Like
I don't even know what other movies she's been in.
Yeah,
it was in Elf.
Oh yeah.
She was in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And I want to say one more thing, but I don't remember.
You're right.
Because she plays the same character. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. It was
it's
okay.
A Jim Carrey movie.
Oh, did you ever see the adaptation of the Wizard of Oz Tin Man series? That was kind of when we were younger.
No.
I saw it. I watched the whole thing. I'm a big Wizard of Oz fan.
Oh, didn't know that.
So it's like almost like a mini series.
Oh, God.
But she played herself. I agree with you.
Yeah, like
Even
I
though she
feel
was-
like she's not great to begin with, and every time I saw her, her face just like looked vacant. Like
Yes.
she was there, like she was basically a lifeless shell being pushed around by the stupid script.
Yeah, I have here written down in my notes. I do not actually understand her character and how like I don't understand how a character like her can exist, right? She like literally doesn't talk to people. She is creating conflict out of nothing, it seemingly.
Yeah.
And her acting again, like she has almost no facial expression. I don't know whether that's secretly part of the plot, like
Who knows?
like maybe she's secretly immune and she's just like, you know what
No,
I mean?
it's
Like
her.
it's her.
Yeah.
It's her. Like, have you seen her in her other films? She just has the same expression with the same bangs.
No. She
Who's that
knows
girl?
that Marky Mark has the aura of death. She's aware.
She knows. Yeah, she's trying to get out by inviting all of our coworkers out for desserts. But none of them have taken her up on her offer yet.
Trouser trout dessert.
All right.
Okay, so we've talked about the actors.
Did anyone write down all the one-liners that they hated?
Oh, all of them.
Yeah, every single line in this film is a one-liner that I hate.
Oh my God. Yes. Another one where Marky Mark is trying to explain that he's normal by singing Black Water. What? Like if you're trying to persuade people with weapons that you are a normal human being, you do not out of the middle of nowhere start singing the Doobie Brothers. And badly. Like
well,
sorry,
I mean, he didn't have the Funky Bunch with him. So, I mean, you can only expect so much.
Yeah. I mean,
out of the wind.
Yeah, I wrote down stay ahead of the wind in big caps. What the fuck? Plants attacking people? Like, how do you stay ahead of the wind?
I
don't understand.
Your name is not Quoth. You do not know its name.
Yes, right? Like, how do you outrun an invisible... Oh my God.
Why does this remind me of How Do You Outrun the Moon? I feel like we
Amy, don't try and save yourself by comparing your
No.
bad movie to my bad movie.
I feel like we have been here.
Listen.
I don't think you two understand the assignment.
This script, I normally when I say like this script is terrible, I don't mean, and when we're remaking a movie, I don't mean that we literally can make a better movie than those people. This is one of the few cases where any one of us could walk away right now, write a script for a remake of this film, and it would almost guaranteed be better than what's written.
Yeah.
Like I could shit out a better script than this.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've
because
seen it.
Whoa.
I mean, I feel like
after watching Swiss Army Man, it's bringing up new images.
I would add the moon to this movie and make the moon responsible for everything.
I mean, you could almost make sense because you could say that the moon was impacting the tides and the tides had something to do with the plants. You could that would almost make sense.
I sense a crossover coming here.
Oh God, stop it.
What happened when the moon fold?
The happening.
The happening of what happened when the moon fold. It's perfect. All right, one last thing for me to point out before we move on, because again, we could spend all day just absolutely taking a dump on this movie. The soundtrack is awful as well. Like this movie is not helped by the soundtrack that is laughably bad when what you're seeing on a camera is the wind blowing and then you've got this dun 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 like Jaws music. It just makes it even worse somehow, you know what I mean? Like just terrible.
I honestly do not remember.
It was bad.
I
remember
I don't.
The intense music and the clouds rolling by and I was like, what is this supposed to be?
Like within the first 20 seconds, Pat was already had it. He already had it.
I kept looking at you during the main credits because it was like clouds, and then it's like someone's name would pop up and it would go dun 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 dun. And every time it did, I just looked at you and I'm like, Amy, I swear to God, it better get better. And it didn't.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you had to know you were in for some goodness when you had 6 minutes of opening credits that were just clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can tell this movie was bad in like the editing room because it literally is exactly 90 minutes. Whenever it's exactly 90 minutes, a producer looked at the film, was like, oh my God, make it as short as possible.
We have to
so that we can get
somewhere.
as many people in the first round of the first weekend, because this movie's gone after that.
The editing was just horrible. You can completely see it. But
yeah.
Oh, it's just so bad.
Does anyone else?
I don't know how.
Sorry, go ahead.
The film did make its money back, though. I remember reading up on this, and it actually, like, God, Roger Ebert. Roger Ebert didn't hate it. He liked it.
Gross.
Yeah, for the sense of fear that it like instilled or something. I can't remember what it was exactly. Yeah. Let me look it up.
It really did give a creepy, eerie feeling, but then cut straight to...
It undermined itself.
Yeah, well, if you walk outside on a stormy day in Rochester, you get a creepy, eerie feeling every time. So it wasn't hard. Oh gosh.
Well, let me say this for the film. When Rotten Tomatoes agrees, the audience and the critics agree. One gave it 18%, one gave it 24%, just too high in my opinion. You know it's bad. Like when one side is like, you know what I mean? Like normally when I see a film that has a bad critic score but a good audience score, I'm at least willing to give it a chance, you know?
No, but when they're both crap.
Yeah.
So Roger Ebert's quote was this. I found it. May I read it? It's fairly short.
You may.
Okay. He said he found it oddly touching and, quote, "It is no doubt too thoughtful for the summer action season, but I appreciate the quietly realistic way Shyamalan finds to tell a story about the possible death of man."
Wow. You know, sometimes even critics get caught up in their own ego, I guess.
Yep.
So not to backtrack too far here, but what did you say the audience score for this movie was?
24%.
Just want to point out that on Rotten Tomatoes,
Mastermind's got a 49.
Just saying.
Woo!
49%.
Yay.
Bravo.
And there was much rejoicing.
Don't chastise me.
Okay, so there's one more thing I want to talk about quickly before we move on to changes. Again, we could go on and on and on about how bad this film is. I just want to briefly touch on something that we've kind of talked about, which is the awful, corny suicides that happen throughout the movie. We mentioned the lion biting someone's arm off. There's a man who mows himself to death with a lawnmower.
I thought that was cool.
At the beginning, there's the girl who takes like the random knitting needle out of her hair and stabs herself in the jugular. I mean, I wear like chopsticks in my hair a lot, but like she just had like the one and it wasn't holding her hair up. And it was like, why are you carrying a random knitting needle?
She took it out and her hair just stayed the same.
Yes.
Yeah. It's for, follow-up takes.
Yeah. Even the final boss lady, Andrea, like you said, she like smashed her head into a window and I thought she was going to keep going. And then it's like, I guess she died in the window. Like they weren't very clear on it.
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Does anyone have anything else to say before we move on to changes?
No.
Nope.
No.
All right.
We're good.
Can I go first for changes?
Oh, please, because I'm struggling. So yes.
Okay. Here's what I have to say about changes. Literally everything. Mic drop. I'm gonna get some ice cream.
Yeah, you're not wrong. So that's my main problem with this film is if you change a film so much that it's not the film anymore, are you remaking it?
Yeah, it's like, what is it? The Ship. What what's the name of the ship where if you replace
ship of
all
Theseus?
the ship of Theseus, if you replace all of the parts eventually, is it still the same ship?
Because at the end, it's still a ship. No, I think there is a way to make this movie a functional story about how the world or the plants are going to fight back.
Beast, you can't go back in time. They haven't invented that technology yet.
You're turning it into an Avengers movie.
No,
I'm basically telling him there's no way to fix it, that he can't go back in time.
No.
What's the purpose of
the joke is funnier when I have to explain it. Is it? No,
is it now? No, I mean,
what's the purpose of our podcast, right? We pick movies and we try to remake them.
Yeah,
like
into better.
We're going to do that. If we're going to give this thing a valiant effort,
I know
there needs to be a big bad. And let's lean into the whole idea that the plants are rising up to kill us.
Yeah, even Moonfall had aliens.
But then, derailed. I lost my train of thought. But no, like let's take what they said in this movie. Let's put a little bit of a Shyamalan twist on it. Let's stick with the crazy idea that the plants are rising up just because they're plants, and then no, it was some crazy new Al-Qaeda plot that changed the way plants secrete something or other that has a adverse reaction to something that Americans eat. And the reason why Wahlberg and friends didn't get jacked up is because they're vegan or something. Like if you want to turn it into a green movie, like go that direction.
Yeah.
Go so tongue-in-cheek that when you get into the last 20 minutes of the movie, you're like, oh, I didn't realize I was watching a farce. And like redeem yourself that way.
Are you going to make it like
I can't see it working.
Yeah.
Are you going to make like an Alex Jones movie, like, the water is turning the frogs gay?
Oh my God.
Oh my sweet Jesus.
It would be better.
You mentioned something about the M. Night Shyamalan twist. Mm-hmm. The thing is, in this film, there was no twist.
I know.
That is weird.
It just was.
The sad part is, I think there was a twist. I think the twist was that it is actually the plants.
What?
No, I think that's the twist. It was just so poorly delivered.
The twist is that there isn't a twist. The twist is, oh my God, Mark Wahlberg was actually correct.
Oh my God. Did anyone notice the really bad foreshadowing at the beginning too?
Mm-hmm.
Where they asked the kid, what do you think about?
Oh, yeah.
I don't even remember what it was. And the kid was like, it was an act of nature and we can't explain it. And that was like the exact same thing that was said at the end.
Yeah.
It's like
the pretty boy in the class somehow delivers that answer when everyone else who's actually trying is failing miserably. Like what? Yeah. No, it does not fit.
Why was the bees disappear? Why did the bees disappear was the question.
We're pretty good at determining what nature is doing, even if we can't stop it. Like we know how hurricanes and flooding and forest fires, we know how they work. It's just that we can't stop them. So there's nothing mysterious about anything, most things that happen in our world. You know what I mean?
I also like how 3 hours into the event, scientists already somehow had a full listing of what this thing did to you.
Yeah, right? Like for COVID, it took months.
Like if you want to build suspense, there's other ways to do it. You could have like, all right, we're going to take the newscasters, the anchor's going to sit there and list out stuff. No. We're going to cut to someone live in the streets that's covering it on the ground. And then the camera drops and the anchor goes and runs into traffic or something. Like you can do it through exposition in other ways that are more meaningful.
See, that would be really interesting.
And I just think so many opportunities were left on the table because they didn't want to lean into the whole it was the plants too early. And again, because I think they thought they were doing something creative here. And
when you say they, you mean one.
No, I'm trying to be nice because someone had to greenlight this project. But I think they were actually deluded enough to think that the audience wasn't going to get right out of the gate with all the information that was given to them that it was actually the plants.
It wasn't hard.
Right.
Especially when you basically fed it to us by saying, like the guy in the greenhouse.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I think there's a half a dozen ways that you could tweak this movie and turn it into something better. I still don't think you're ever going to get something good out of it, though.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And I just realized I'm looking at M. Night Shyamalan's because M. Night Shyamalan has had some good films. Split was decent.
Split was very good.
Unbreakable's great. I actually like Signs and have a real soft spot for The Village, which some people don't like, but I think the twist in that movie is freaking awesome.
Yeah, I loved The Village.
I loved The Village the first time, and that's the problem with a lot of those movies that have a twist like that, is you can never really watch them again and get the same effect.
But I think that's fine. Like if the twist is good enough, then the twist is what you're there for. Let me give you M. Night Shyamalan's 3 films in a row. This is what killed him in Hollywood. First one was The Happening, 2008.
No, Lady in the Water.
Oh, sorry, Lady in the Water. I've never seen that one. I've heard it's bad.
I heard it was real bad.
So that's 2006. Then The Happening is 2008. The Last Airbender was awful, 2010. And then After Earth with Will Smith and his son, I think.
Yeah.
2013 are all just horrific movies, and then like every other movie after that is like a small independent film. Like Split he made with like his own money before they gave him money for Glass. The Visit I've heard is okay, but I've never seen it.
Glass was good.
It was okay.
I hated Glass. I thought it was very lackluster. Amy,
I've seen Old,
yeah,
which is I believe out on Netflix now or Amazon. It definitely looks independent. It has an independent feel. Stuff about his movies really bother me, but also intrigue me. So I don't know how to stand with M.
I can appreciate a director who swings for the fences. This is like you struck out, like you swung and missed 3 times. The Happening is like you swung and missed 3 times, and when the umpire called you out, you just refused to leave and kept swinging into the air. That's how like much of a miss like this movie is. You should have looked at the script and realized we need to go back. We need to go back and rewrite this.
I feel like that this film though was just lazy.
Yeah, very lazy.
Like the other things like The Village, Unbreakable, stuff like that before this, I feel like those were tight. Like they were like the story made more sense.
Yeah. They were legitimately suspenseful too.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And this was just I don't know. This felt like my senior paper in college, right? I wrote it 2 weeks before the due date and used 2 sources. And somehow I managed to pass.
Yeah. Somehow a movie studio gave you $60 million. Amy, do you have any changes you'd like to suggest since you put us in this happening?
Yeah.
You happened this to us.
I did make this happen.
We happened upon this situation because you put us here.
I do understand that a lot of people don't like I would change the actors. I would change the actors. I did not think they were good. Some of the kill scenes, some of the suicide scenes I actually like, but I like stuff like that.
The construction site in the beginning was okay.
Yeah, that was creepy. And it was like, okay, maybe there's something here.
And I don't know if it's just because they're pretty similar, but it gave me the Mist vibe. You don't know what's out there. The writing could have been better. I would change the writing. I maybe not make it seem so the way it was screenshot, cut and paste. A lot of the scenes looked like that. It was going from one to the next. Maybe if they just delivered it differently.
Yeah.
I guess change a lot.
You brought up The Mist. The Mist is like the superior version. The Mist is an incredible film if you've never seen it. Obviously, the plot has nothing to do with this plot. It's about creatures coming through a
but
portal.
At the beginning, they have no idea.
Yeah, but it's a very similar type of movie.
Yeah.
And it's incredible and so much better than this because it takes the humans and it puts them in that situation, and all of a sudden, you get like the crazy religious lady versus like the rational science people, and like what type of person sides with what.
And it's different because they stick all these different types of people inside of a lockdown supermarket because they can't leave because they don't know what's out there, sort of like they don't know what's out there, except in this movie everyone's traveling. It just doesn't seem as realistic as it would happen if people thought there was a terrorist attack.
Yeah, wouldn't you all stay inside?
Some people in the Mist go out because their kids are at home.
And they die.
And so she asked people to go with her. No, that lady lives. The Mist, I won't spoil it, but The Mist also has one of the best endings of any film I've ever seen. Like, it's on my list of best endings. Have you guys seen it?
No.
Okay, I won't spoil it. You've got to see it. It's really, really well done. And
writer.
What's that?
Isn't The Mist based off of a
It's a Stephen King.
Thank you,
novel.
Stephen King.
Yeah,
or
a short story.
So it's a short story.
Yeah, so there's a TV show called The Mist as well. I'm talking about the movie. I haven't seen the TV show.
So,
but
Pat, we'll watch The Mist.
Yeah.
As soon as you watch Scott Pilgrim.
Okay, like honestly, I was gonna never watch that film as a joke.
I watched it 2 weeks ago, and he purposely walked away.
It's true, I did.
You bastard!
I chose to watch it because I like that movie, and he's just like,
Okay, time out.
Wow,
you've actually got me because I want you to watch The Mist so bad that I will literally watch Scott Pilgrim versus the World tomorrow to make sure you do.
And when he does, you have to take a picture, otherwise I'm not going to believe it.
Yep.
That's true.
I honestly don't think he will like it as much as you guys want him to. I know
probably not, because when we saw it, like when I saw it, I was like in college, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is great!"
And that whole style was just coming out.
Yeah.
The actor was actually good back then. Remember when he was cool?
Michael Cera, it's amazing. Okay, so here's what we'll do. I'll watch it before the next episode, which is our randomizer, and then that could be one of the things I talk about.
Okay.
Right.
Sounds good.
But let me just to put a cap on The Mist. The thing that works in that film is that there's tension between all different groups and types of characters, and in The Happening, even when there's a big group of people moving together, there is 0.0 tension. No one is mad at anyone. No one is arguing with anyone. No one is distrustful of anyone. The whole human element is gone, right? Whereas in The Mist, there's a whole bunch of like, I don't know if we can trust that person. I don't know if they're going to run outside and get us killed. I don't know. And there's a power struggle of who's going to be in charge of this group of people, who's going to make the decisions.
Marky Mark.
And there's none of that. Yeah, they just literally put Marky Mark in charge for some reason because everyone else gets killed 10 seconds later. So that's what the first major thing is. Like, take the character tension and the character conflict and add that into a version of The Happening, and I think it immediately goes from like a 1 out of 10 to like at least a 5 out of 10 because you actually care about something. You know what I mean?
5?
That was a jump. I appreciate that.
Well, a bad movie with good characters that you care about and has actual tension is like a minimum of a 5, in my opinion.
Okay.
Even if it's got bad CGI and the plot doesn't quite make sense, if the character conflict is there, I think that does a lot of covering up.
Are you saying Moonfall was at least a 5?
Well, no, that character conflict was very skin deep.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Sure
no. Again, I just want to reiterate, I only liked Moonfall because the first time I watched it was 4:00 in the morning. I just want to caveat that for the rest of my life, asterisks. I don't know if anyone else wants to go next. I have a big change to the film that I think would make it better, and I'd like to sell it to the group, but I don't want to hog all the time. Does anyone have other changes they want to go over?
No, go for it.
I thought I told
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to reference a couple films here. The first one is Serenity, which is the Firefly movie.
Oh yeah, that's a great film.
That is a great film. And in that film, minor spoilers, maybe major spoilers. If you haven't seen it, that's your fault. In the film, they go to this planet, which is like not on any maps anymore. It's been erased from history. And they tried out this chemical to calm the population, But what it did was it turned them into like zombies, and they refused to do anything. So they literally just all starved to death because the chemical turned off their brain, telling their body that they needed food, telling them that they needed to work, that type of thing. There's also another film, an independent film that I saw back in the day when like Netflix had like a disc subscription still, called The Signal. Not the not the newer one with what's his face in it, Lawrence Fishburne. There's another one. It's an independent film from like 2007, and it's basically kind of three connected stories about a signal that goes out worldwide, and it turns people into raving lunatics that try and murder each other. So what I want to do is have the plants give out a signal that does what it does what the chemicals do in Serenity, the Firefly movie, which is make them stand still. And then the true scary part is they're just going to stand there and die. They're going to stand until their legs literally can't keep them up anymore. They're going to fall down and they're literally going to die. Because the scariest thing is like, you know, kind of not being, imagine being in a coma and being aware of it until you're dead. Like some plant comes and like mushes you up and stuff, or you die of starvation. And the entire film could be like them trying to run around and get away from the people because you know the plants have been there because there's people just standing around. So no one kills themselves. The scary part is you can see their brains are still working, but their bodies won't move, and that's the scary part.
Especially if you tie in a little bit of like the outbreak.
Yeah.
And have some natural immunity and give it some of that suspense of, oh my God, what do we do? Can we do anything? And push that direction as well. Especially if they do figure out it is the plants. You know,
right.
Play with that. You could actually, yeah, you could play with that dynamic too. Like, all right, it's the plants. Let's take some flamethrowers to Central Park and see what happens. And some people start moving again, but then you find out that, you know, this specific type of plant and their death throes send up a juiced up signal, and some people's brains just like aneurysm and stuff. Right,
exactly. So that's kind of where I wanted to go with it. There's a movie that came out that I haven't seen, but it's called Smile, and from what I understand, it wasn't that terrible. But the idea that like someone smiling at you can be scary because of the way they smile at you, that's kind of the horror I'd go for in this one. Is like not body horror with, you know, people being run over by lawnmowers, but like you have to look these people in the eye and you can't help them. You just have to stand there and let them literally nothing to death, right? Just happen to death because it's a happening. They would happen to death.
No, I agree. That could be. Sometimes if you don't do something, it could be just as effective, right? So like, by doing that and having everybody sit there, sure, you lose the time component where everybody just freeze frames, wait 30 seconds, walk backwards 6 steps, and then find your nearest way to kill yourself. Like instead of doing that, you can capture that in between time by having someone just stand there. You could have everyone else who's not affected by this freaking the hell out trying to figure out what to do because of their loved ones being frozen and whatnot. You can build an entire story around just that part of it.
Right. Think about John Leguizamo's character, right? He goes off to save his wife. Clearly one of the stupidest decisions you could do. Just take your daughter and live with her. But imagine and again, we're talking about like we want character conflict in this film. Imagine if John Leguizamo's wife starts out with them and then she can't move anymore. And then John Leguizamo has to make a decision. Do I go with them? Do I go with Marky Mark? Or do I stay with her and try and like wake her up? Like imagine every person in the affected area having to make a similar decision. And you can even make, you know, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like that would actually be kind of boring.
Well, only if you film it badly, like The Happening did.
Like the idea of the idea of what's happening is kind of boring in and of itself. The idea of someone just standing there because of a trigger of some kind, be it a signal or otherwise. Like that can be boring, but that's not what the real ask here is. The real ask is what happens in between, what happens because of that, what is triggered because of that, what stories come out of that.
Right.
You and I are walking in the park and I just freeze frame. What are you going to do?
That's where the character conflict comes in, right? The scary thing isn't, hey, there's a bunch of people over there just standing in a field not moving. The scary thing is like there's conflict in the group about what to do. Do they walk past them? Do they kill them? Do they like set them on fire to try and get past them in this field? Hey, my wife is standing still. Can we take her? No, we can't. You build character conflict, and that's what creates tension. This isn't a horror movie. You can't make plants. You can't turn a movie about plants like messing with people's brains into a horror movie, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's like no one villain. It's definitely
well, there can be a villain in the group. Just like there is
that is true.
The Mist, again, without spoilers, there is a human villain in The Mist who is the villain of the film, even though the antagonist of the film, even though there are like aliens outside murdering people. That's just like nature. The actual villain is a human being.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
You know?
I get it.
Yeah. Anyways, I've rambled on enough. That's my pitch. That's the only way I thought about this movie where, I was
like some of those changes.
Yeah.
You definitely tried to think outside the box.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Does anyone want to change anything else before we go to casting?
I actually like the direction you were going. It kind of satisfies my need for a big bad or something to pull that focus.
Fair. Okay, so for casting, we really didn't talk about this before. I only did the two main characters, Elliot and Alma.
So did I.
Did anyone cast anyone else?
Nobody else had any screen time.
That's true. I don't want to cast the little girl. I don't want to cast John Leguizamo.
You don't want to cast John Leguizamo?
I mean, I'll cast him in a movie, but not his character in this film.
He was in the film for like 30 seconds.
Even the two main characters.
I casted him.
Okay.
But almost as a joke.
Even the two main characters were so two-dimensional that I don't think... Like, I think you could put... So I didn't cast any one specific person. Sorry to jump out in the lead here, but the point I was going to make is that you could cast literally anyone for these roles.
Yeah.
I mean,
they are so one or two dimensional that there's no depth to these characters. There's no tension. There's no arguments. There's nothing. They're just running through a field.
It's like
we've got an hour of running through a field. Anytime
character development started to happen, it was as if they were told, "Nope, we can't have that." Yeah. It was like Alma, or Zoe Deschanel's character. It was like, "Oh, well, what was going on? Why did you do this?" No, nothing. It was just dessert. End of conversation. And it's like, okay, do you not know what the first rule of improv is? Yes, and like, come on, give me more. Yeah, I wrote a note here for Elliot, Marky Mark's character, that the only goal I had is to hire someone who would actually be believable as a school teacher. That was my only constraint. I was like, I want to make sure the person I hire looks like they might be an actual teacher of children. Yeah. All right. Are you stereotyping? Absolutely. How do you know if someone's a teacher or not? Well, if you look like an absolute thundering dumbass like Marky Mark does in this movie. Thundering. Nice. I mean, literally, he just I'm sorry, like he just does not look like a teacher in this film at all. All right, so I guess I'll go ahead and jump in then. I picked Andrew Garfield because I think he's a good actor and I definitely could see him being a cool teacher. I mean, he's a good actor. I agree with you. Yeah, the problem is we changed the movie that like... It's a completely different movie. Yeah. My pick for Elliot Moore would be John Krasinski. He was in The Quiet Place. Yeah. I still haven't seen. What? That was good. Yeah. I liked the second one as well. A lot of people didn't. It was pretty good. He definitely shows humanistic values as well as it brings tension to the movie. Definitely has the same sort of eerie feel. I must be on a theme here. He is also Jack Ryan, at least for one more season. Because he's a good actor. He's not good. Just from The Office.
I agree. He's one of the people from. He's one of the people I'm surprised made it out of The Office. I thought he would be done after that, and he's gone on to do some like major roles. So, good pick.
Yeah, I agree. I like that as a pick.
I picked Matt Damon.
Oh, okay.
Meet demons.
Yep. Where's my reasoning behind that? Oh, I didn't write anything. So I've always thought that Marky Mark is like a cut rate Matt Damon.
He's Matt Damon without the boy face, right?
He's Matt Damon without the skill.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean Matt Damon's. I mean we watched him in Air, and he was.
It was a good movie. That was a cute movie.
I think there were Matt Damon's a great actor. He could do it with his eyes closed, walking backwards in a snowstorm with his legs cut off. Like he'd be fine.
It's the wind.
How do you walk with your legs cut off?
Exactly.
Okay.
I like that pick.
Also, just as a side note, I've always felt that Zooey Deschanel is like a cut rate Katy Perry.
Okay.
They look alike.
Okay.
Yeah, they do have sort of the same features.
Yeah. That is not who I'd pick for Elma. I'm just saying that because I felt like those two actors those sets of actors look a lot alike.
Nick, did you say you didn't pick anyone, or you didn't like care who you picked?
Both,
it's okay.
honestly.
Look at that.
Okay if you didn't.
No, I didn't.
So I tell you what, Nick, since if you didn't pick anyone, you have to pick which one of the three of ours is the best.
Oh. What are my options again?
Andrew Garfield, John Krasinski, Matt Damon.
Oh my god, that's tough actually.
See, I don't think it is.
Are we talking in what context? What
The movie.
In any context you want, it's your decision.
Okay.
In the context of casting them in the movie The Happening to make it not as bad.
Okay.
Any of the above.
If we're going to cast them exactly as it is today, I would pick Garfield. If we're going to cast it in the idea,
that's fine. Don't continue.
No, you stop, sir. If we're gonna cast it in the way that Pat had suggested, in an actually kind of plausible storyline, I'd pick Krasinski.
Okay. I think all three of those picks are good picks. I like Matt Damon too. He's gotten a little bit stale for me as the years gone on. He's been in some
he's older. He's great
movies, but he's good.
I can't unsee him from the Bourne series.
Yeah.
And that's making it really tough for me to place him in a movie like this.
What about
ever
The
since
Martian?
No, The Martian was fantastic,
Ooh.
but again, that's like a science thriller. That's not it still doesn't quite match up to this. Where Krasinski doing the whole what the hell series is he in right now on Amazon?
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan, thank you. The whole Jack Ryan series where you've got a serious look to him. Like translate that over to the movie Pat was pitching, and you've got yourself a decent mix, a decent outlook.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm distracted trying to cover up Amy looking at my casting notes. All right, let's move on to Alma more then. I have two different picks, and it depends. So I was like, if you want the character to actually go in a funny way, like have her be kind of like a little more sassy character, comic relief, I went with Kate McKinnon. But I kind of regretted it immediately. She's from SNL. You'd know her. But if you don't want to go that way, I went with Blake Lively, who is known for some of those corny soap opera TV shows, but has actually been a pretty solid actress in several feature films, and is probably someone who suffers from her reputation on those like soap opera style teen dramas. You know what I mean? She's also married to Ryan Reynolds, so that doesn't hurt. So I think my official pick will be for you, Nick, Blake Lively.
Okay.
But I kind of wanted the idea like you could have like a character who's like a jokester. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. Again, if I were to pair those up, if I were to do a Garfield would pair with McKinnon.
Oh, you think so?
I would love to see
Okay.
them kind of just like feed off of each other. Like you have that serious
Yeah.
moment, and then you take a step away from the script for a moment and just have a little bit of ass hattery.
Yeah, and when they
Love to
actually
see that.
have those moments where they have to talk heart to heart later in
Yeah.
the film, it actually seems like they've liked each other before. Whereas,
Yeah.
like in this movie, Marky Mark and Zoe Deschanel, it almost feels like they never liked each other and they got married anyways. Like it doesn't actually make any sense. Like I hate you, but I married you.
Yeah.
All right, Amy, what's your pick?
So for the character Elma,
Yeah,
I picked an actress that I don't think a lot of people know, but I think she's pretty good in what she's been doing. Her name is Natalia Emmanuel.
she from Game of Thrones.
She's from Game of Thrones, and she plays almost like the second hand to Queen Daenerys.
Daenerys, yep, Dany.
Dany. A lot of her role is very quiet, somber. I'm just standing there, but I'm also intrigued. Like she's listening to everything. And of course, watching this movie, Zoe plays a very quiet, empty-headed girl. So I immediately thought of an actress that probably, if the roles were similar, she could do that. But she's also been in a movie called The Invitation, which is a horror movie. I'm sure none of you guys have seen it. It's kind of lower budget, but it did come out. I thought it was pretty good. And she played it very well as a Scream Queen. And I think she would be a good pick.
Nice. I do like her. Apparently she's in a bunch of the Fast and the Furious movies as well, which I haven't seen. But
she's kind of an up-and-comer.
Yeah, I think that's...
But I feel like she could act it, and I think she would go good with John Krasinski as a possible love interest, even though they don't seem like they love each other in the movie.
Okay.
That's my pick.
I picked Sandra Bullock. And I'm not really sure I like my pick, but I feel like that she would, I don't know. I feel like she would do well in like
Bird
a
Box.
That's what I was about to say. Bird Box, yeah.
Yeah.
She was good in that. And that was a horror suspense film.
Right. I heard that the movie sucked. I haven't actually seen it, but I heard that
I
she was good.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Okay.
But
yeah.
It's actually very similar to The Happening. But it's actually, you know what? It's a better version of The Happening.
It is.
It's 100% a better. Yeah.
It as.
Yeah, that's. I didn't even think about that, but holy crap, it's just a better Happening.
Just be another reason why you guys didn't.
Yeah.
Like the movie.
Okay, so you guys need to watch that movie as well. I mean, it's not like the most amazing thing ever filmed, but
it makes you think.
Yeah, the end is a little lackluster, but yeah. All right, Nick, back to you. Which one do you think's best?
You shouldn't put him on the spot here.
No, I should put him on the spot. It's more entertaining for the audience.
He also didn't do his homework, so yeah, you get put on the spot when you don't do your homework.
Wanted to my homework.
I agree.
Crap.
You're welcome.
Technically, you're the only one who passed the assignment by not participating. So,
yeah,
that was the trick. You shouldn't have said anything about this movie.
That's tough. So, like I said, I'd like to see the Garfield McKinnon mix. But if we stick with Krasinski, that's tough.
I'm liking Pat's pick.
That's tough. No, I think I'm actually gonna go the direction of Sandra Bullock.
Ooh. Did you end up seeing the Bird Box?
I did not.
Oh,
It's
okay.
on Netflix though, right?
Well, what movie are you thinking that would make you think she'd be good in? I mean, I guess she's a good actress. She's been in a lot of different types of roles.
The Blind Spot, or whatever that movie is called.
The Blind
That
Side.
is-
The Blind Side.
Isn't that about football?
I'm just making up a movie.
It is, but like
It's a great movie.
she is the quintessential like boss mom in that movie. Like,
yeah,
take nothing and run everything over. Actually, I'm thinking to like we just watched it recently, Lost City.
Recently.
Amy, you watched that movie, right?
That was like
with Daniel
months
Radcliffe.
ago.
I only watched it to see how it compared to basically it remade a different movie in the 80s.
Romancing the Stone.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Michael Douglas.
Only to compare, but I always liked Romancing of the Stone better, but she didn't play the role bad.
So
Sandra Bullock.
you joked about Blindside, but like if you take a look at that, you take a look at everything that she's been in, and you take a look at the range that she has.
Yeah.
Gravity was another good one.
That's a good movie.
Oh yeah, that was good.
I saw that in 3D. It was one of those movies that's like,
oh God.
It goes from like a 6 to like a 9 when you see it in 3D.
God, I can imagine the beginning of that movie where they're just whipping around the ISS. I'd probably get nauseous.
Yeah.
But like Speed, like
She's
Yeah.
been in
I'm looking-
a ton of shit.
looking
Wow.
through her filmography here, and just like
Speed 2, Cruise
the
Control.
net, the net.
The Net.
Uh,
I almost kind of want to pick The Net for my next round. I'm not gonna lie.
Demolition Man. Now that is
wow, I forgot about that. Yeah.
that is a quintessential 80s action movie. It has no play.
It was
But
made in 1993.
listen, it just didn't know when it was made. It is absolutely an 80s action movie at heart. And I love it for it. But like, take a look at her filmography.
Yeah.
You do anything.
So
That's why I picked her.
go watch Bird Box, because
Okay.
it's
if you
literally
like her,
her
you'll like
audition
that
for this
movie.
movie. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So before we end the show, we've got to do a would we remake section.
I got
Oh.
one more character.
Sorry. Let me restart that.
I
Oh.
figured I would cast Julian, played by John Leguizamo.
Yep.
By a really great actor that we've actually talked about in the past. John Bradley. He was the hero in a recent movie,
Moonfall.
Moonfall, the only one that dies.
Uh,
I think he would be pretty good in that role.
Thank you.
agree.
He's
I
the
think
one
he would
guy
work
that
with
dies. The first, okay. I thought he'd be a good math teacher. I don't know.
All
He's
right.
definitely got the nerdy quotient down.
That's true. No one else cast
No one
the
else
friend, right?
cast it. No one
No.
cares.
No.
All right, so
No one
you win by
cares.
default for that category.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so let's wrap up and move on to the would we remake section of the film. Amy, you have to go last. I guess I'll go first if that's okay with everyone. This is a film that falls into the it's so bad that I would rip out too many of the guts and it would just be a different film. So I think for that reason, my answer is no, I wouldn't remake it. But I also never want to see this film again.
Yeah.
I think you said it the best. What's left if we remake it the way we were talking? It's not the same movie. You know, we've done this before with previous movies where we'll tear apart the cast and put new cast in, or we'll play with the story a little bit, and tweak some plot points to make it just an overall better fit. But this, we're talking about a damn near full rewrite.
A damn near full everything.
So for that reason, I also would not remake it.
Yeah.
I would let it continue to burn in the hell that it currently exists.
I would say no for a different reason. I would say no because it doesn't deserve to be remade.
Wow. Okay.
In
Harsh
addition
but
to-
true.
Yeah.
The real true.
Amy,
well, by default, do I even need to say?
Do it.
Tell us what's in your heart, Amy.
Well, in my heart, of all, my small beating heart.
Yeah.
I like bad movies.
She really does.
I like good movies. I know this is not good. I thought thinking about this movie, and I know how kind of a B style it is, forgetting everything that is wrong with it. I thought it would be a good remake, but you guys have very easily convinced me that maybe we cannot save this sinking ship.
Pull the plug.
I feel bad.
Why?
This movie.
Because you're sad now.
No, I'm mad that I wasted about 2 hours of our time.
Oh no, you're fine.
No, Amy, we are joking. Like we're only joking. Like
my next pick is gonna be great, and if it's not, then I win.
Nice.
Oh God. I think we should end the podcast the same way that every scene in The Happening ends, which is just kind of looking confused at the camera and saying nothing.